Yes, we are back at the wait again for the chapter. 12 more days until we get a new chapter for 100 Years Quest, but we left off on a really strong point for this series that we got a lot of stuff we can speculate and really work with just to theorize and talk about until we get to the next chapter. So, in this, I did a video in regards to this, just talking more about like what it could mean, but I want to just add on to it in this video. It'll probably come out before the other one, so you'll see what I mean once I have both videos up about what exactly Alderun's comment that he had in chapter 54, 100 Years Quest. They could really open up a lot of story and a lot of stuff for the future of what's going on in the manga. So we got all the fights lined up. We got Wendy's group against Doom. We've got Lucy and the rest of the really guild against Metro. Gears against Jalal. That one I think is going to be, at least out of those three, the best one, just because it's going to be the most 1v1, as well as it's going to be Jalal, so you're going to get to see a lot of really cool magics. Gears I think will be really good too, because he's a tactician, the way that he's brought up, and the way that he's kind of emphasized his ability. So the whole aspect of him having being a very tactical character versus Jalal, also a pretty tactical character with a large arsenal, is going to be really good. Doom's fight, I'm not 100% sure on. It really depends on who's really fighting, because Wendy says that she's like out of magic. She's seemingly at a good strong 0%. She could eat air and then she could do it and then get her magic and stamina back, but I don't think that she could 1v1 Doom by herself. The whole key right there, personally, I think that would be involved in defeating Doom would be if the White Witch gets up and she ends up fighting him, which again would be really interesting and a really cool twist. And then with Metro's like a weird one, because out of all of them, he's probably going to be the least intimidating, I would imagine, just based off of what we have so far. If he's kind of just like a raw strength, sheer numbers kind of guy, because Wolfen's was more sheer numbers, but it was also like the hacks behind it, and what kind of powers you could get out of it, because it wasn't limited to like making one version of a character. Like we saw a bunch of different Makarov copies, so its ability to overwhelm people with that is very dangerous, and I think it's more threatening than Metro. So Metro probably has a lot more abilities we just haven't seen yet. I'm just talking about currently. But Alderun, the Brain Alderun, and Natsu, I find the most intriguing based off of his comment when he says that your very existence is a threat. Is I don't think that he was talking about the whole group or even the guild. I think he was talking about Natsu, because we know from Wolfen that he can, Wolfen can read minds and hearts. We know that was an ability of Alderun's going into this arc. And yeah, the God Seeds are like pieces of Alderun, and they're extensions. So that's still his power. But we saw it really displayed through Wolfen, and Wolfen had his hands on Natsu, and if he can read hearts and minds, he might know like certain aspects about like who he is, and Alderun can have that. Like Alderun could know all this stuff about being raised by Ignil, being taught Dragon Slayer magic by him, defeating Ecnologia, and the fact that he is END all in one. And if he ends up knowing something as something as big and like important as the him being END, having an Etheria side, it would be a perfect way to bring it back into the story, because like I've mentioned a couple times in different videos, and I mentioned in more talking about if this theory is true, if he does know it and END is able to kind of get rebrought into the story, it would make sense more for Fight vs. Fovi, because all the similarities that form had with the partial Aetherius form that he had in the Alvarez arc, as well as it could lead into explaining how is he even alive, because he was alive because of living magic. Zeref died, so he should be dead, but there's still like the theory that the living magic link went from Zeref to Lucy when Lucy would mess with the book, because we saw the aspect of END, like she says, the Natsu's flames, like the demon flames going into her body through her arm when she was messing with the book. So it could very easily rope that back in and advance it in the story, as well as it would give Natsu the idea possibly of learning to control his Aetherius powers, because that's a logical way for him to get stronger, on top of his Dragon Slayer abilities, if he can master both and then unlock that form he had against Merciful. I just call it Aetherius Dragon Force, but unlock that and then progress through the rest of the 100 Years quest, like pushing that, developing it, making it stronger and stronger, and upgrading it as it goes, because that is a power up like state and like ability that would make sense if he ends up getting a lot stronger by learning how to do it. Because we know the END, we don't know the full extent of END. We know at least though that END was enough of a threat in the idea of its full self, not a partial one, but in the full END might that Acnologi was cautious of him, and he showed up to destroy him in in Tartarus when he showed up near the end. But that whole layout I see really just developing into a lot of big stuff. The fights I think are going to be a lot of fun, just seeing some of these guys and having some of the character matches. Like I said, if the White Witch ends up fighting Doom and not Wendy, will be really cool. And then Jalal's fight I have a lot of hopes for. Metro, like I said, with Metro, it's going to be a little bit weird because right now all we really know about him is he can make a bunch of really big wood golems. As of right now, I can see his fight being fun because like characters will get to show off probably a lot of cool moves and stuff. Maybe get some a couple new spells and whatnot. But other than that, maybe I could introduce Dragon Force Godchill. I mean, he's had Dragon Force before, but like actually doing it on his own and just dropping it at any point. But anyway, other than that, comment below. Tell me your thoughts are about this, and tell me your thoughts about what's to come in the next chapter. Like I said, 12 days gonna be rough, but we can do it. We've been doing it since 100 Years Quest came back out, except those beautiful 10-week weekly chapters. But anyway, other than that, comment below. Tell me your thoughts are about this. And remember, give a thumbs up the video, press the like button and subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.